All right, what is good, ladies and gentlemen? It is the Mass Reviewer back again with another review, and today we are doing a review for the Ninjago pilot episodes. This is a rewatch for me, and I am starting to review the Ninjago series because this is, I'm still trying to work on a consistent schedule for like how to go about stuff. Like ever since I started university, I'm still like struggling to figure out when's the best time to watch certain things and stuff like that. But in general, the rewatches are the easiest thing for me to do. And so at the moment, I am starting to rewatch the Ninjago episodes because it goes much faster compared to everything else. So so we are doing a review today for the Ninjago pilot episodes, which is, it's like two pilot episodes that are technically, it's like, it could be either two episodes that are 20 minutes long each, or 4 episodes that are 10 minutes each, but I watched the, like the 2 episode version. And then this is also, I'm including the mini movies along with this review. This is also going to include the there were 6 mini movies that were part of they're like in between the first season and the pilot. So I did watch those as well. And so we are reviewing all of that together. So yeah, let us just begin, starting out with the plot. And the plot of this, of the pilot episodes of Ninjago is that basically, it's kind of like the introductory for the entire show. Of it introduces the 4 main ninja, which is Kai, Zane, Cole, and Jay. And Master was the one that is basically training them, and they have to, in the pilots, basically they have to get the golden weapons, and then they have to stop Garmadon from trying to escape the underworld. And so they fight the skeleton army along the way. Kai's sister, ends up getting kidnapped. And yeah, overall, this is basically just meant to be like the introduction to what would later go on to be like the rest of the series. So it's just meant to kind of like introduce you to the characters. The mini movies, they're also meant to just like, you know, flesh out the characters a bit more, show them bonding a bit more, give a bit more context to some of the background with like Sensei Wu and Garmadon and stuff. So overall, I'm going to say as a pilot, as like the pilot of a show is always meant to kind of be like the introduction to it. It's supposed to like get you invested in the world, I guess. And I think that this does a pretty good job of, this is like one of, I rewatched the show multiple times. Maybe I should have given a bit of background. I watched Ninjago like a lot when I was a kid, and I still like, my youngest brother, he watches it like constantly on rewatch. So yeah, this has been a big part of my life for a while by now, Ninjago, and I still love the series to this day. I'm still, I haven't watched the newest season, which was Dragon's Rising Season 3 Part 2, but up until that, I still have watched everything, and I do have like mixed thoughts on certain seasons, but that is why we are going about this season by season and not just one big review for the entire show. So but anyway, yeah, I think the pilot, I would give the plot of the pilot, it is, I'll say good. I'll say like a 6.5. It's like, it's a good introduction of basically they need to get the golden weapons, they need to save Nia, and they need to stop Garmadon from whatever his plans are. So I think it works well. Like it definitely does get more interesting in the later seasons with the plots and stuff. But for now, this is like pretty basic, and it works well, I think. So I'm going to give it a 6.5. Good, I'd say. In terms of the characters, this season, I guess you could say, like it is just the 2 pilot episodes as well as like the mini movies. The mini movies, like there's not really plot there. It's just kind of like meant to showcase a few more of the characters and stuff. So the characters are the 4 main ninja, which is Kai, Jay, Cole, and Zane, who I think even in the pilot season, they are still very much enjoyable to watch. Sensei Wu is also in this. Nia is in this as well. I think Nia later on, she gets more fleshed out and becomes a better character. Sensei Wu is good in this. You have like the skeletons, where, to be honest, in general, the skeletons compared to some of the later factions, the skeletons are some of the weaker villains, in my opinion, out of the entire series. I think Samukai is probably like one of the weakest villains in the entire series, but to be fair, he is meant to just be like kind of an introductory villain to kind of just showcase off like he's not meant to be like the big bad guy. Like he's just meant to be like the first villain that you kind of like helps you get introduced to the world and like the characters and stuff. So he's not really meant to be like this big menacing threat. However, Garmadon, they do introduce in the pilot episodes, and I do think off the bat, like Garmadon does feel like a pretty menacing threat, especially in the miniseries where you do find out how he ended up getting control of the underworld. He does seem like they do a good job of portraying that, I would say. So overall, the characters, I'm going to say, like they're good. Definitely later on in the series, in the later seasons, you do get like a lot more backstory to the characters, and they do get fleshed out a lot more. The villains, they get much better. This show has like some amazing villains, and I am very excited to be rewatching some of these seasons and to seeing these villains once again. So I'm very looking forward to that. But overall, I would say the characters are, I'll go 7.5. I will say very good. I do think that once again, just in the later series, like they get fleshed out much more later on. So for now, I'm going to say 7.5. I'm going to say very good. In terms of the settings so you basically just see the blacksmith shop that Nia and Kai work at the start, and then other than that, you have the monastery as well as the fire and ice temple where they get the golden they get the sword of flames and the shurikens of ice, as well as the I think it's like the floating ruins or something where they got the golden nunchucks of lightning, and then they have the chasms of I was gonna say chasms of like despair or misery or something like that, but I think that's from Ice Age. But the caves of misery or something like that, where they got the scythe of quakes. So they are actually pretty creative settings, I will say. Like even just for the pilot season, I definitely like later on you do see some more. They do like a really good job with the world building in this show. I think like the lore is just very extensive and deep. But I do think even for like the pilot, it did a pretty decent job of showcasing like some interesting settings. So I will give the settings, I will give it a, I'll go like a 6.5. I'm about to say like, here I'm about to talk about something that I think kind of brings down the settings a bit more, which is the art style. And I do think that definitely in the pilot, you do see that, definitely it doesn't look as good as it is going to look later on. Like this one is definitely, it does feel like a pilot episode where it doesn't look bad, but it definitely, you notice like, I noticed at least some like, animation issues and stuff like that. Not even just that, I think also there's like some, I think in the earlier seasons of Ninjago, they had like audio, issues every now and then. So, yeah, those are noticeable as well. That's not really related to anything, but, in terms of the art style, I think the art style I'm grouping in like in this case, I'm grouping in like art style with like how well the animation is and the CGI and stuff. And I do think it looks a bit dated. It definitely looks better later on, but for now it's still fine. I'm going to give it like I'll go like a 5.5. I'll say it's decent, but it definitely does improve in the later seasons. In terms of the action, it's all fine, I'd say. Like, once again, it's not too deep or anything. It's kind of just like it's not intense action or anything like that. It is very much baseline of, it's cool and stuff. Like you have like with the golden weapons where it's like, I don't really remember them doing this in the later seasons, but like the weapons themselves, they actually like shoot elements out of them in the pilot seasons. And I think like Jay's nunchucks would do that, but like, for example, Zane's shurikens, they like freeze stuff a lot more in this, season, where I don't really remember them doing. I think I do remember doing it some in the later seasons, but they do showcase like the elemental powers of the golden weapons like a lot more so in this season, it feels like, compared to what they do in later on, where later on, from what I remember, maybe I'm misremembering, but they just kind of act as like regular weapons, and they don't exactly I think maybe they're meant to be like a channel for the ninjas, like inner power and stuff, because I guess spoilers for anyone that doesn't want to get spoiled, but obviously later on the ninja do get their own elemental powers without the use of weapons. So yeah, but overall the action, I would say it's I'll say above average. I'll give it like a 6 out of 10. I do think probably gets better later on once again, but it's still good. It's still, the ninja stuff is cool and stuff, and so it's above average, the action, I'd say. So in terms of the worst thing, I'm just going to reuse the worst score, which was the art style / CGI or animation, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to reuse the score, so another 5.5, because yeah, it is probably the most noticeably bad thing about this, where it's like it does not look as good as it does in future installments of these shows. So 5.5, yeah, that for the worst thing. In terms of the best thing, I think the best thing about this is, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what, I'm just going to reuse the best score for the characters. So another 7.5, I would say they are very good. Because yeah, once again, these are great characters, and they do get a lot more development later on, which makes them even better. But even so, as like a starting point, I think that they did a very good job introducing the characters, doing a good job of like giving them each unique personalities, of like Jay being the jokester, I guess, Zane being like the one that's like kind of socially awkward, you could say, because of reasons that if you've seen the show, then you know why at this point. Cole being the one that's like, I guess, more responsible, I guess, or not exactly more responsible, but the one that's like more serious, I guess, and then Kai being the one that is very hot-headed, as well as Sensei Wu. He's like a good teacher and stuff. Garmadon feels like a threat, and the skeletons, they don't feel it. There's like the skeletons that are meant to be like for comedic effect and stuff, but Samukai himself does not really feel like the most threatening villain or anything. But yeah, but overall, I do think that, yeah, the characters are very good. So another 7.5 for the characters, and yeah, I don't have any extra notes, but I did want to mention that I did find it weird how it's like the way that they got into the underworld in the second pilot episode was through the dragons, which is fine. But then for some reason, like they only had the fire dragon. They were at the fire temple, and then Kai and Nia, they were on the fire dragon, And then somehow they managed to summon all the other elemental dragons, which I don't really, they don't really explain how that was done. So I don't, I was just kind of wondering about that. It doesn't really ruin anything, but just something I wanted to point out. So, but yeah, I am going to do the calculations. So King Crimson. All right, so it ends up coming out to about a 6.5, which would be good, but I think I would probably give it much higher than that. I think I would give this honestly, like, for a pilot, it is still like pretty good. Maybe it is, I'm sure like probably some of it is just like nostalgia bias, but I do think, but even if I have some nostalgia bias, I don't really care. I'm still, that doesn't change my opinions on it. So, I'm going to give it probably, I would say like, between a 7 to a 7.5. I thought it was between pretty good and very good. It is a strong start, I would say, to the show. And so I am going to, I'm just going to leave it there. I'm just going to call it between pretty good and very good. So yeah, I am very excited to continue watching the rest of the season. Just in general, I'm going to be, like, I am still trying to work on, like, the other stuff that I'm trying to do. Like, I'm still, the viewer recommendations I'm trying to get to, as well as, like, I'm trying to figure out when the best time is to implement the movie watches and stuff. But I do still have to, like, I have a lot of homework I have to get done. So, there's, like, just a lot of stuff I need to balance, and I'm trying to find the best times to do that. And just in general, the show rewatches are the quickest things for me to get done. Like, this didn't take long. This took me, like, maybe half an hour to watch, not half an hour, but, like, it definitely does not take a long time to, like, watch show rewatches, because I already, like, I don't have to pay attention as much as, like, I do for new shows and stuff. So, but yeah, so I am trying to figure out, like, how to balance stuff better. And so in general, I'm just going to probably try to get more like I said, I want to get stuff out during the week, even if, like, I don't want to, I think last week I waited like a whole week before I released a review of some sort, or just a video in general. So I'm trying to, like, be more consistent with uploads, but at the same time, I am trying to, like, find a better way to balance things out. So yeah, just the usual, like, nothing really changed from the last time I guess I spoke about this topic, where yeah, so anyway, kind of going off topic there at the end, but overall, yeah, I'd give it a 7 to a 7.5, between pretty good and very good. And yeah, looking forward to rewatching the rest of the show in the future. So yeah, that is pretty much all there is to it. So if you have any recommendations, any shows, movies, video game stories, anime, web series, anything that you want me to review, leave it in the comments and I will maybe possibly check it out. But with that said, that is pretty much all there is to it. So let's leave it at that.